Hello and welcome to a brand new YouTube channel. This is Sam's on Wrestling. I am your host for today. I am Sam and I'm joined by Baby Sam.
I'm younger than him, so he calls me Baby Sam.
No, we went to drama school and to determine who was different, you got called Baby Sam because I'm so much older.
Makes him feel better about being in his 30s and he's kind of,
Getting on.
Yeah.
The back hurts.
Yeah.
The knees hurt.
But then I have the mind of a 10-year-old still, so it evens out.
You're blind though. I've got perfect vision. You're blind.
I have many faults.
And blind at wrestling. So you'll notice this over the course of the next million years. I know more about him than he does. So thank you for joining us. Just so you know a few things we're going to do. We have plenty of different ideas that we're going to do. One of them is what we're looking at today. It's our round table, a discussion type thing that will happen at this sort of time every single week. But we have other types of discussions we're going to do, some generic ones. We also have a controversial opinion where we will say something of either devil's advocate or controversy and have a chat about that. We will also have See the Good In, where we take something that's regarded as bad or negative and see the good in it, Sam. Because we like positivity on this channel.
We're positive people.
But we also got another thing. We got the power rankings, where we will rank wrestlers and put them in order based on a whole variety of categories, not just who's the best, are the best heel, face, all that sort of stuff. We'll also find out who is the best wrestling knowledge between Sam and Sam in Sam versus Sam. A series with many different types of trivia games where we try and name things in order, we try and do things in 2 minutes, we do Dave Meltzer's star ratings and how much he gives a -4 to everything and 9 stars to anything Kenny Omega or Ospreay is in. I like Kenny
Or anything
Omega.
that's just in Japan.
Yeah, like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. I like
Mm.
Kenny Omega and I like Will Ospreay, so that's fine.
Just not that much.
No. And then we have some other things like brackets. We will look at some overall wrestling categories and decide which is actually the best. Our top 10. Not the top 10. Our top 10. So for you to get to know us a little bit before we go into all our other videos and other sections, we're going to talk about what got us into wrestling, what kept us into wrestling, etc., etc. So we'll start with you. When did you actually start watching wrestling? What year was it?
It's a very good question. So that was about 2008.
So where are we at this sort of woods? Where
I think it was
John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H.
faced each other a bazillion times on Raw.
That's when I stopped watching for a bit.
Yeah.
I went to university.
So it's overall, we've kind of got the same level of knowledge, but we've got gaps.
No, we've covered the whole of wrestling knowledge.
100%.
I'm up to 2008. You can kick in.
I've got a few
you then
years.
drop
I've got
out.
the PG area. I was there for the tough times, all right. Well, you chickened out.
You
I was
dropped
there.
out, then I came back.
Yes,
in.
it's true.
And then COVID was a bad year. Yeah, we didn't watch that.
For everyone, but yes.
2008. What?
2008. So it would have been towards the end. It's right. So I remember for some reason I'd gotten a book, a wrestling book, and it was basically WrestleMania 24 in pictures.
So
So random.
I love that pay-per-view.
Yeah, great WrestleMania.
Yeah, really good WrestleMania.
I got to know the wrestlers through looking at the pictures and watching all the matches like Finlay, JBL, Triple H, John Cena, Randy Orton.
Oh,
So-
Finlay JBL.
Yeah, good luck. Felt on pictures it looked a lot better.
It's all I remember from that
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
No one remembers that. Who won that match? Did JBL win?
JBL won that match.
All I care about is Hornswoggle getting
been
flattered. That's one of the best spots.
It's good, isn't it?
Do you know what, when we do the brackets of best spots at WrestleMania, I really hope that's it.
Fantastic spot. So it was on my radar, and then I had my best friend in primary school was into wrestling, and I remember I looked at his lunchbox, and it had the Undertaker. I've not told you this.
No.
The Undertaker and Batista on it, which was like the SmackDown side, and that was blue. And then I think you had John Cena,
Shawn Michaels?
I want to say Randy Orton, but it could have been Shawn Michaels. John Cena was definitely.
Well, I was
one of
thinking about that's the WrestleMania 23 main events. They had tag team matches against each
Yeah,
other.
so it could be that, but it was that gist. And they were on the red side and it was Raw. So I was asking about it and I was like, oh, is it kind of like football teams? You've got like SmackDown and the blue team and Raw and the red team. It's like the wrestlers. No. But he said yes. He was. So I was right.
Well, like Man United and Man City.
So I said, oh, is there like a league table? He was like, yeah, they've got these power rankings. As if that was,
the Power 25.
Yeah, as if that was the league table.
I remember Power 25.
So it's like you've got Champions League football in the top 4, and that's what got me intrigued.
Can I just say, completely unrelated to you talking about wrestling, the Power 25 25, when you first get into wrestling, you want to know everything. You're into every individual thing, even if it's useless or pointless. Like, there's half the stuff that's on WWE.com I don't even know anymore. Yeah. But I remember the Power 25 coming out, and I've got a maths degree because I'm a sad git. And I was so excited by that. But the thing that I remember the most about it is Vito. Generally, he did a gimmick where he started wearing a dress. And that's how he split up from Nunzio. It's a terrible gimmick, right? And the gimmick was, he used to put them in kind of like an armbar, but he'd put over the top. So essentially his dress, you were in between his legs under dress. And obviously every single wrestler in the mid-2000s like, oh no, another man touching me. Because they're pathetic. But Vito went on a massive winning streak. Like every week on SmackDown, he'd win. And somebody clearly went, we actually might need to get Vito up the rankings here because he's won every week. Someone must have said to me because he was like 20th, 19th for a long time. And then I just remember distinctly one week. This is how sad I remember. I don't remember nothing else. Who knew he was number one or anything. I just remember Vito like jumping to 11th. So at one point, Vito in a dress is the 11th best wrestler in WWE. Vito, if you're watching, I actually like that gimmick. I thought it was fun.
I have no idea that happened.
2005.
Yeah.
A year. That was a fun year.
Yeah, that is the first time I've ever heard that story. Not something I expected
another
to hear
series. Another series we are thinking of doing is Educating Sam, where Sam doesn't know anything, outside of Attitude Era and everything he's watched. So we're going to educate him and, educate you, hopefully, on some wrestlers. Who knows? Now we might look at Vito.
And frankly, I know far too much for a 24-year-old man about wrestling anyway, so I'm really looking forward to knowing more pointless facts about wrestling.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the Diva Search.
Yeah.
For me, getting into wrestling, right? So how old were you? Did you say you were?
I would have been 8 at the time.
So I started watching in 2001. So I started watching when I was 9, turning 10, and it was actually my sister who was in it, right? My sister, literally, the minute I started, my sister was gone. she must have been the most fleeting wrestling fan I've ever seen, right? And I came downstairs, and my sister went, Sam, watch this. And this is what made me go, this is something interesting. I like this. What do you think in 2001 was on the screen that made little Sam go, do you know what? I could give this another go.
Right, it's 2001, which is mainly a good year for the Invasion.
It's the Invasion.
It's the Invasion. Knowing you, even at 9, I think you're going to look at the referee versus referee match and go, oh, that's different. Oh, the officials.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Not even that. Right. It's genuinely a move.
Go on.
It's one move. It's Scotty Too Hotty doing the worm. And I just went, that's great. I love it. Tell me. And that's generally it. So if anyone knows Scott Taylor, you want to tell Scotty Too Hotty that, I loved that. But then you have to ask the question. So that got me into start watching it a little bit, see what was going on. But, this is 2001, Sam. The internet wasn't massive in 2001. I don't even know if I had the internet in 2001. My family were very old-fashioned. Not old-fashioned people, but in terms of, I don't do technology. I was amazed my dad had Sky, to be honest. I'm amazed he got that to work. I think he just wanted to watch the golf. But, so you'd end up watching lots of repeats. And because I was 9 and stupid, I thought they were wrestling again. So I distinctly remember The Undertaker taking on Kurt Angle and Stone Cold in a handicap match, right? This is around Kurt Angle's turn in the Invasion. So in my head, I'm like, I can't believe The Undertaker's got to go through this again. Go, Undertaker, you can do it. And even though it's the same match, I never noticed.
You're not getting suspicious when it was the same promo.
No, I didn't. Because it was on things like Jacked and Metal and things like that, which were, heat and velocity to you and all that stuff. So what kept you going? So obviously there's that first look, and then the next job to keep a young fan in is to keep them going. What kept you there? Because quite frankly, I stopped watching because I couldn't watch Cena and Orton anymore. I just couldn't watch it anymore. It killed me.
So it depends. Are you talking from the beginning where I got intrigued and it kind of got me into it more?
6 months, that year?
Right.
What kept you in there?
That's a very good question. I think it really helps when you've got a friend who's into it. So you talk about it at school.
Yeah.
That does. But in terms of from a wrestling standpoint, I think, because I kind of came into it about 2009 time. It was kind of end of 08, beginning of 09.
Oh, Randy
Orton.
So you've
got the Randy Orton build.
Yeah, the psychopath.
That was really exciting.
What a bad WrestleMania that was. 25.
Well,
one good match.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And
so was that your first WrestleMania, 25 then?
Yeah, I remember I watched it with my friend at his house, and I just always remember Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Like I think that actually is probably the thing that just certified wrestling is awesome.
Oh, that match was, for anyone to watch it knows how good that match is. Even if you don't know nothing, even if you're your age and you're completely stupid, you were at your peak at that point, apparently.
Of intellect. Yeah.
He always says he's at his peak in year 2.
Which
for any Americans is about 6.
In year 2, I got 30 out of 30 on a maths score. And I've never felt so clever since. I've never done as well on a test.
Could you imagine saying that in the same room as someone who has a maths degree?
My class gave me, like, not a standing ovation, but they all clapped me. I was like the rising intellectual star of the class. And 12 years later, not even how many years, I can't even count the years, that's how bad.
Yeah, that's not great.
No,
that's not
it's
great.
all gone wrong because look where I am now.
Because here's the thing, right, for me that kept me in wrestling, because I was always intrigued what kept me, because if you looked at what happened with mine, the invasion is bad. We now know that in retrospect. But if you are a brand new fan, and this is what people need to remember when a brand new fan comes in, what you now know is bad, if you're ever watching something, that is brilliant to somebody. So the invasion to me, I didn't know what WCW was. It's already gone by that point. I started watching around like September of 2001. So they were gone. So all I knew is there was this band of good people, this band of bad people. You also had Paul Heyman on commentary, by the way, who's just, I didn't know who Jerry the King Lawler was. I knew Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is just unbelievable commentator. People, if you ever want to watch amazing commentary, I know you have to then sit back and watch the invasion, watch his commentary, because it is just superb. It really is. But so we had the Survivor Series match, and I was there again. Didn't know kayfabe. That's the thing. That's the other thing I was gonna say. Yeah. They don't know kayfabe yet. Most don't. There are people who go wrestling's fake, and they go yeah. You got to remember what you were like when you didn't know it was fake or scripted and predetermined. And that match, I thought WWE were going to lose. I thought I didn't like these WCW guys. I didn't like them. I didn't want them to win. But what happened then 2 months later? The Royal Rumble. We had the Jericho becomes Undisputed Champion, so they combine the belts. That's new and exciting. So a lot of things are happening for a new fans. Were like, this is keeping me in. And then the NWO debuted. Like 4 months later, and I got told these guys were a big deal. What did they do like weeks into their run? They ran over The Rock with a semi-truck.
It's quite dramatic for a 9-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. They're going, this is amazing. Yeah. And then WrestleMania 18 was my first WrestleMania. Not the best WrestleMania. It's sandwiched between two of the greatest, if not the greatest, in 17 and 19. But I got Rock Hogan. Now, I may not have known wrestling, but I understood the name Hulk Hogan. I understood the name The Rock. And to watch that spectacle, I didn't actually watch it because my parents forgot to record it and I cried. But on repeat recently, to watch that match just felt so much more. So I'm there. That crazy 6 months from like September of 01 to WrestleMania 18, that's 6 months, so much happened. Even though you could argue that it's bad now, or badly booked, or not, it's insane.
And you had the draft as well, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh yes, and the draft happened.
You love the draft.
I loved the draft. The first draft was amazing.
Yeah.
It actually was really, really well done. People complain going, there's going to be shows with my best wrestlers on it. And I'm like, I'm okay with that because it built new stars at first. It did work, and you knew if I wanted to watch Austin, I'd go to Raw. If I wanted to watch the Rock, I'd have to go to SmackDown or whatever. That worked for me. Yeah. And then when the Royal Rumble or King of the Ring came around, suddenly it was like, we get to see them, and that works for me. That's how a draft should be. Really hard draft. Don't have them flip flopping over because then you would have King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, and the Royal Rumble. That's great. Yeah. So for you now, like, what do you think would get someone into wrestling? How would you get like a young person into wrestling now? What would be your advice almost to them? Like,
for someone that age.
Yeah, because it's very easy to get attached to it, but you got AEW with like much more wrestling based, and then you got WWE much more character based. Where would you tell the young person to go watch first?
Oh, it's a very good question. I think it's a lot easier now than maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, internet and YouTube. And
I even just think the quality of the
quality. Content. Oh man, can you imagine trying to get someone in 2019? Yeah. In WWE, good grief.
I would say, I think, show them the Bloodline story.
Yeah.
Because you've got you've got clear, defined characters, and that's what you need as a kid. You need clear characters that you understand and are consistent, which maybe I didn't have.
Would you ever show them anything? Let's say you had maybe one who's 12 or 13. Would you ever show them anything from previous or old?
You've got to. I think everyone goes to Undertaker, Mankind.
Yeah.
But you know what? Works. Yeah. It makes you. It's a magical feeling around.
I always never showed them that or TLC2 because then everyone thinks that's what it is.
Yeah. So maybe it's a little flavour, but that's not the standard. I think the Cody and Roman stuff.
Oh yeah,
is
that's
just,
that'd be a great thing to show a new fan now. Imagine getting in right now and seeing that bloodline main event at WrestleMania 14.
It's such a clear story because you've got Roman as the ultimate dominant champion, and a kid, if he thinks it's real or she thinks it's real, you're gonna buy that. Like back in the day, I genuinely thought that Undertaker had this spell that when it turned to the day of WrestleMania, he was unbeatable. Like that's how I bought into it as a kid. You think it's real? I thought he had a mystical power and you could not beat him. I was convinced of it.
Was there anyone when you grew up? Because now you know it's real, right? And you don't know it's real. Sorry, you got kayfabe going on. You don't understand it. Was there anyone you just absolutely hated, but you have now grown to massively appreciate them as an adult?
Yeah. I mean, he's my favourite now, and CM Punk in 09. Jeff Hardy was my favourite. Like he was my
great person to get a young person into. Jeff.
Jeff got me into it. So
cool.
I was so into Jeff Hardy.
Do you know who the new Jeff Hardy is now? It'd be Darby Allin. Someone who's naturally cool.
Yeah.
Actually not pretending to be cool. He's just you are a cool. Wrestling inherently isn't cool. They're actors. I always got told they were theatre kids who went to the gym. And I think that's a great definition of it.
Metaphor, isn't
that's
it?
where you don't give. But Jeff Hardy, an artist, Darby Allin, he's got all those things. So Jeff,
he was my absolute number one, and then he had the feud with CM Punk, which was amazing. And I remember I was honestly chewing my dad's ear off about it. I remember I was telling him everything that was going on, and I loved it. I hated CM Punk so much.
And he was a really good heel as well. Wow, it was so good.
It worked on me.
Yeah,
and I remember because what I would do is I would go every morning after a SmackDown, Saturday morning, I'd go on WWE.com because I didn't have Sky. So I just watched the videos. So I'd usually get a bit of a headline that gave a bit of it away, but I just watched the videos on WWE.com. And I remember waking up one morning on my laptop. It was not announced before that SmackDown that Jeff's career was going to be on the line in a steel cage.
If you were not understanding the backstage stuff, it came out of nowhere.
I thought Jeff was going to be there for years. I didn't know contracts. I didn't know it wasn't real yet.
What wasn't contracts?
It was also, to be also...
He was refusing to go to rehab.
Yeah. So I turned it on, and the headline was, Jeff Hardy has to leave, or CM Punk's beating him, or something along that line. I was like, what? Watched it. Broke my heart.
Did Punk win the title in that match, or did he won it prior?
He won it at SummerSlam and he retained it. And I remember I went to a live event a few months after.
Isn't that Undertaker turning up between...
Yeah. So Taker turned up, refused to elaborate, and we're just continuing the Punk-Jeff feud, get Jeff gone, and then Taker's going to politely wait his turn to feud with Punk. Well, I went to a live event a couple of months after that, and me being a 9-year-old, I genuinely thought at the live event that Jeff Hardy was going to come back and fight CM Punk.
Really? Oh, that's so sweet.
And me and my friend were really hopeful. So,
which did you have more fun at, by the way? That one as a child, that live event, or when we went to the first ever AEW at Wembley? Because we've been to both, but obviously the first one, there's something about it. It's sort of special. Which one did you enjoy more? The one as a child, or the one as a known fan in something that was huge? Live event, house show, meh. Wembley, huge, but you're a child and adult. Which one went for you more?
It's difficult to say. I'm going to say All In because I appreciate it more. And also, it's Wembley.
Oh, it was so special to be there. The spectacle of it.
Yeah. And you know what? The matches, I criticise AEW now and then, and I'm sure I will on the channel, but I thought the matches...
every pay-per-view they do is gold.
The main event...
They very rarely miss a pay-per-view.
The main event was an absolute belter as well. We genuinely didn't know who was going to... You're going to bring this up, aren't you?
So I brought this up because we did a bet that night to see who knew the most about wrestling, and Sam got 4 predictions wrong, meaning he gets Ric Flair chopped by me. So should we do that now while we're here?
I knew you were going to do it on the channel. I knew you did. And you said, why would I do it on the channel?
It's been over a year. And I went, when will I do this chop? And now I've discovered when. So Sam, can I open this chest up? Let's gunther this a little bit.
Do you want the shirt off?
No. Okay. Let's have a bit of decency.
Arms
behind there. Woo!
Oh, no problem.
Welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. That'll be the only violence on the show. We'll never do that again. I've been waiting a year. For me to keep... what kept me in...
Just keep casually talking
about it. Yeah, it's good as if it never happened. I'm so happy that's there.
Thank you.
When I was a kid growing up, the wrestler I despised, and there's 2 reasons I despised them, was Kurt Angle. I hated Kurt Angle for two reasons. One, I realised when you're young, you don't get wrestling. You just want fun and gimmicks. And he was a wrestler. So I actually thought he was really boring in the ring.
Oh, wow.
I really thought he was boring. Because you imagine thinking Kurt Angle was boring. That's what I was as a 10-year-old sort of thing. And then I got it. I think Kurt Brock is what made me get Kurt. And I knew the backstage by that point. I knew that it was not real and stuff like that because I'd been reading spoilers and stuff. Yeah. The internet had kicked in my house by that point. But I also hate, as a heel, he was so annoying.
Yeah, it's fine.
And he just got in the way. He had the head shaved bald. He was part of the SmackDown 6 stuff. I just hated him. He just bugged me. And I appreciate Kurt so much. He's one of my favourites. He's one of the greatest ever. And that's what I love about wrestling. When you grow, if you stick with it, because people drop off and they become a child, or I think every wrestling fan dropped off at some point. When you become an adult, you go to university, or product dips. I think everyone drops off. So as I said, I've dropped off twice. I've dropped off at the back end of 2008, 2009, and I dropped off in COVID. I completely dropped off for 2 years. And pretty much SummerSlam 2022, Triple H's first pay-per-view, is what brought me back and brought you back. You'd gone as well.
I had gone for a little bit. It was more because I was friends with you, so we would discuss it now and then. So I kind of know what was happening, but I couldn't have told you who the US or IC champion was.
When you do Sam versus Sam and it's anything that happens in 2021, not a clue. Got, who was the Intercontinental champion? Braun Strowman, Nakamura, who knows? But like, people do drop off, so you have to work out what brings you back. Is it a person you liked returning? CM Punk in 2011 is what brought me back. I think it brought a lot of fans back. Triple H in this new era with the Bloodline now brings back. AEW in 2019 turning up brought a lot of fans back from a different era. And what I always want to know is like, what would bring you back? What is the thing that would make you bring you back, but also what keeps you that fan for 20 years? What's the thing for you that's kept you a fan for 20 years? You know it's predetermined, and the booking is bad, and we've had some bad years from like 2011 to like 2018.
There's a few things. So Punk, I know, brought you back completely because you were gone.
I was completely out. I was at university then. I was done.
You picked a good time to be gone. But I, at that point, was 10 and 11. I kind of knew that it was fake, but I didn't know the behind-the-scenes stuff, really. And I was just getting a bit tired of it. Like, R-Truth had a really rubbish feud with Cena, and it was just getting... We had Obama, a fake Obama was a capital punishment. At this point, I'm in 11, I'm in high school, I'm like, I'm a bit done.
I like the R-Truth thing.
Well, you can. It's more, you like it if you know the politics behind wrestling. You can just say, this is quite funny. Yeah. Punk kept me in when I was probably about to drift out. It was then about... I think Punk turned heel in 2012 when he was champion. And Punk was the only one I was rooting for, really. So when Punk turned heel, because again, I'm still not really thinking about it like I am now, where you can cheer who you like. I thought, well, if I can't cheer Punk, then I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to watch it.
That's a thing that people don't realise when they go, why is Cena not turned heel, for example? And Cena couldn't. Every child was so behind him, and new fans were coming in and they were supporting Cena. I don't think a lot of fans realise there is a business element to turning somebody. Like Austin turning heel at WrestleMania 17 was just a wrong decision. I enjoyed his heel run. I actually think it's quite fun. But it was the wrong decision. Rock had just left. There was no big baby faces. So the minute he turned heel, Triple H is the heel as well. They had no one to feud with. Yeah. And that was the wrong time. So I think that from the business sense, you've got to think about that. Yeah. So for me, it was like that made me drop off was repetition. And Vince, for some reason, just had an obsession with rebooking matches over and over again. 50-50 booking. We'll probably get into that one day. But that's what dropped me off. I just couldn't watch Super Cena, really. Like his world title reigns, I hate them all. It might come up one day. But it bugged me so much. But what keeps you that fan for 20 years of your life? So you're on like 15 years. I've been a fan now for 20 years.
You put it that way.
What's kept you in? Because for me, it was when you grow out of the kid thing, then you appreciate it as a teenager. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes not. And then I think you discover the backstage stuff.
Yes.
And I think you find out about the backstage stories. And you get into that. Then you work about how the booking works. And then you probably become a mark. And I think this is where you have to make a key decision what type of mark you're going to be. Are you going to be positive? Are you going to be negative? Are you going to be selfish? And I think this is the thing, one of the channels we wanted to bring out. We wanted to show you that we have our opinions. We try to be positive. We have negativity. We want to look at people from all round as much as we can. And we want to look at things from the negative to the positive, from seeing the good in some really bad storylines, but we will also criticise some wrestlers in the power rankings and stuff like that. And we will even do a controversial opinion, which is going to be more negative. And that's what we want you. We want you to join in the conversation. We want to build this channel to talk about positivity in wrestling, talk about and have some fun. So please like, share and subscribe to our brand new channel. We'll have new videos 3 to 4 times a week. I think it's going to be 4. We're going with 4. We're going to go with 4. 4 times a week we're going to go with videos. You will know it will keep a very strict structure. But thank you for joining us, just to get a little bit of an idea of who we are. It's been quite a long little 25-minute discussion. They might not be this long in the future, but here's who we are. Put in the comments, what got you into wrestling? What was the moment? What was the one moment? What was the moment? What was that moment that got you, that slow moment? What was the moment that got you into wrestling? What kept you into wrestling? What brought you back to wrestling? We would love to hear about it. Let's open the conversation up for you in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much, guys.